Let's take a look at business A. We're told that they make 5,000 in the first year, and then the profit is increased by 1,500 each year. So it'd be 6,500 in the next year, 8,000, so on. Because then we're asked, and we're already getting into it, for the total profit during the first n years. In fact, this is an arithmetic series, and the nth term is not actually that important, but it would be 5,000 plus n minus 1 times 1,500. That would actually be like the last term here. But what is the most important thing to find this total profit is actually we're quoted in the formula book, the sum. So for us, well, I'm gonna use this second one, by the way. I've actually got the last term, but if I substitute the last term in, then I'll just get this formula here anyway. They are basically the same formula. So A is my first term, 5,000. D is this 1,500. And therefore Sn is going to be a half n times 2a, so that's 10,000, plus n minus 1 times d, so that's going to be 1,500. I'll put that on the left, times n minus 1. Okay, we've just got to figure this out. What shall I do first? I could have both first. I'm tempted to do that. So I'm going to get 5,000 plus 750 times n minus 1. I could even expand the bracket while I'm at it. Then it's going to be n 4250 plus 750n. We could expand it into a simplified quadratic without the factorized bit, but this is accepted by the answers, and it would be quite useful if you're actually then doing a calculation. So I'm happy with that. Okay, on to B, where we're asked to find the total profit by business B. Here, they also make 5,000 at the start, but then the profit was 90% of the previous year. So I'm actually not going to work it out. I'm just going to write it as 5,000 times 0.9. And then it would be 5,000 times 0.9 squared, because this kind of illustrates a bit more clearly that it is a geometric series. And the last term would be 5,000 times 0.9 to the n minus 1. It's always r to the n minus 1, because you can see in the first term it's 0.9 to the power 0, so that's why that makes sense. We're timesing by 0.9 n minus 1 times, not n times. But again, the main key thing, because we're looking for the total profit, is this here. So for us, I should have said A is again 5,000. Now R, this common ratio, is 0.9. So Sn is going to be 5,000 times 1 minus 0.9 to the n. Okay, we quote these formulae without proof, that you can just use them. It is obviously, you should learn where they've come from, but we're just going to use them here. 1 minus 0.9. Now that is actually 0.1, and when I divide by 0.1, it's the same as timesing by 10. So my final answer is going to be 50,000 times 1 minus 0.9 to the n. Again, you could expand the bracket, but this is fine. All right, nice so far. Right, part C, for find how many years it will take for the total profit of business A to reach £385,000. So exactly that amount. So we've got the total profit as in terms of n in part A. So it's actually a case of setting that equal to 385,000. So I'm also going to expand the bracket now, because we can see that this is going to be a quadratic. And then let's just write it 750n squared plus 4. Let's make it equal to 0 essentially. Now it turns out that you can cancel down some common factors and you could factorize this, but in this sort of scenario, it's best just to get your calculator to sort it out using the quadratic formula. Here it is, equation function. This is like you want to get through questions as quickly as possible. I'm all for factorizing, but when it's like this and you got to cancel it down first, it's just not worth it. So 750, 4250, and it was minus 385000, which gives us n is 20 or minus 77 over 3. I mean, I feel like I should just say I'm using the quadratic formula, but the mark scheme like literally gives you 1 mark for that and then 1 mark for your answer. But we should always say what we're actually using, even if we don't quote the formula itself, like we don't say what it is. Okay, and we're going to reject the negative. You can't have a negative number of years, so it's actually going to be an answer of 20. Although to be just really careful, because it says find how many years. So we've got to remember, actually, we're not just doing a maths problem here, it's an applied problem. So n is in years. So we're just going to write 20 years. The mark scheme even says like 20 years as an answer, so you might be penalized. So I'm going to put a box around that one and actually get rid of that box. Okay, good. Right, very last part. We're asked comment on the profits made by the business in the long term. So that essentially means that n approaches infinity. So let's take a look at both. This one here, this is a quadratic, and actually it's always just going to continue to grow. So that would be our answer. Business profits for B. Sorry, the profits for A rather. Profits for A will continue to rise. Remember, it was going up by 1,500 every year. I might just say arithmetic series. Like that's always going to happen basically if D is positive. Then what about B? So here we had Sn for B. So we could take a look at S infinity because as n approaches infinity. We can either use the formula here or actually that formula just comes from letting n approach infinity here. And it's basically just going to become 50,000. So the profit will tend towards £50,000. Um, you could say the profit per year will tend to zero. You could say that it plateaus, just really making it clear. I think this is the most, convincing, to be honest, actually saying what it will equal. So that will definitely be enough. Okay, well done.